This episode of the Shooting Star Press is brought to you by Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime includes free 2-day shipping for eligible purchases, unlimited streaming of movies and TVs and shows with Prime Video, and the ability to borrow books from the Kindle Owner's Lending Library for $99 a year or for $10.99 a month. Check it out in the description below. We have a little link that'll take you down to sign up for Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime. Check it out. Welcome everybody to the Shooting Star Press, your source for the latest in wrestling news. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Shooting Star Press Podcast. That's right, you're listening to the Shooting Star Press Podcast, the only podcast you should be listening to for all your combat sports news that includes sports entertainment. You know what we're talking about. This is the number one podcast in your hearts and minds. And you know how that's true? Well, we didn't get traded. That's right. We put this show on our backs and we carried it. We built this show just like the face that runs the place. No, I'm not talking about AJ Styles. I'm talking about Ryan Cloud.
That's me.
Yes. That's that guy right there, and me on the mic right here, my name is Lee Kraft. That's right, I am Lee Kraft. That's all you need to know. That's the show. Bye. No.
See it? We're done. It's over.
I hope you didn't click away, because we still got stuff to say. Ryan Cloud, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Not gonna lie, I'm doing pretty good. How you doing, Mr. Kraft?
I'm not bad. I'm a little hype because my Nashville Predators they dominated tonight.
Yeah, I've been seeing that.
Grizzlies didn't do too well though.
No.
So, yeah,
it's cool. You're not from Memphis.
It's cool. Yeah, but it's Tennessee, so I mean, whatever.
Truth. Well, Demetrius Johnson dominated tonight. I don't know if you watched that, but
I did not. But I did hear.
Mighty Mouse. Can't mess with him. Can't mess with Mighty Mouse.
Yeah, it was on. So I was at the Buffalo Wild Wings, and they had UFC, boxing, and they had the Predators and the Grizzlies on, and this one guy was in there, and basically it was all Tennessee stuff going on, and this one guy came in and he threw a fit. He was angry. He was like, "You shouldn't be showing any of this stuff. You shouldn't be showing any of those Tennessee sports and the Predators. That sound shouldn't be on the," because like Buffalo Wild Wings in Nashville has a exclusive contract to play Predators games on the speakers when they're playing away, and then when the Predators aren't playing and the Grizzlies are playing, then they play Grizzlies on the speakers. And when it's football season, right there to the tail end of the football season, when Grizzlies, Titans, and the Predators are playing, they then play the Titans if the Predators aren't playing. But if it's just football season, then they play the Titans on the audio. And that's something that Buffalo Wild Wings do at all the places. They pay homage to the sports of the place that they're in. And there's always that one dude. I'm sure you've seen that dude, Ryan Cloud.
I've seen that dude a lot.
I mean, I assume you would.
Particular dude.
I mean, I thought you followed him around.
Sometimes I get bored. Things happen.
But this dude, he threw a fit, and before that match came up, they changed the channel, and they changed it to golf, of all things.
Because everybody in the stands or the restaurant were just clamoring to watch some golf. Let me tell you.
Yeah, and then he faced the opposite TV. Like, he didn't even face the TV that he had them change, and that was the TV I was facing.
Seems legit.
Yeah. And that's all that dude always. There's always some dude throws a fit. They change the TV, and then he doesn't even watch that TV. He sits there and watches some other TV. So that's that's what's up. But I was sitting there, I'm watching my NXT, so it's okay. I got to watch basically all of the fallout of what we're probably going to be talking about tonight. Ryan Cloud, what do you think we're probably going to be talking about tonight?
We're going to be talking about the superstar shakeup, the thing that's going to bring life back to Raw and to SmackDown, and apparently suck a little bit of life out of NXT. But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there, though.
Yeah, but we didn't get traded. That's all that matters. We're still here. We're still here, and we're going to present to you the best podcast ever. Yes, sir. All right. So let's just jump on in it. You want to start? Actually, instead of jumping on into the big draft trade, all of this
whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, might as well get the other stuff that doesn't have to do with major label out of the way. You cool with that, Ryan Cloud?
Hey, I'm down. All
right. So there's this little promotion that was started in Nashville that is now, now they're owned by like Toronto, and they're shot in Orlando. It's a whole thing. I think you know who we're talking about.
It's a thing.
We don't even know what to call it anymore because they keep changing their name. I don't know if they're Anthem, they're Impact, they're TNA, they're something.
They're that show.
We'll
call it that show.
They're the C show, the D show. We're gonna call it the D show.
Still might be a little bit, courteous on that.
Okay. So they did have a pay-per-view this past weekend. It was the one night only pay-per-view that they have like every couple months, and it was the best of the new knockouts. It was lackluster, but it was okay. I mean, I like seeing Gail Kim. She hosted it. It was pretty. I would rather see her in the ring than have her hosting a thing. But I mean, there's some of the best hosts of the people you want to see out in the ring. I mean, you got your Daniel Bryans, you've got your
Byron Saxton.
I was gonna say Shaq. Yeah. Oh. I now miss Mauro Ranallo. I miss Mauro Ranallo now. Anyway, but yeah, it was an okay show. Not really much to talk about it. I just wanted to bring it up and say that it happened. Because last time one of these happened, we didn't say anything about it. And, I had somebody ask me about it, a couple days ago about, are you going to cover that? Cause you didn't cover it last time. So I was like, okay, yeah, I guess we'll cover it. So it's been covered. Consider it covered.
It's covered. It's done. We got it.
And
put a check next to it.
Exactly. And then the other thing that happened on Impact's weekly show, last week we had a draft of two teams between Josh Matthews and Jeremy Borash. Yeah. And well, they had the actual match this week. And Josh Matthews has been taken off of Impact. So he is gone from Impact, according to the storyline of this thing. Do you think Josh Matthews is actually gone, or is this going to lead to something, or is Josh Matthews going to join NXT like everybody else?
I would almost bet that Josh Matthews is not gone. Just that feeling. I mean, it's not like people are begging to come to Impact Wrestling anyway, so why lose Josh Matthews? I mean, he's not that bad.
I like Josh Matthews.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with him. He's not like top notch. Well, for Impact maybe, but
I mean, he is the best thing since sliced bread, according to him. So
true.
So I mean, I don't know. It could be that this is a way of them writing him off of the TV in order to make him have an in-ring debut, or it could be that this is writing him off of TV the way they've been writing everybody else off of TV because they all actually secretly signed contracts with WWE. Because Jeff Jarrett. I mean, nothing against Jeff Jarrett. He's
Jeff Jarrett.
I mean, he's a good guy.
He's a good guy. He's a good
says he's
guy.
good.
He was a good wrestler. Well, he was an all-right wrestler, and
He was
he's just not a great
lower
owner.
top tier. He's just not a very good owner. Yeah, he's not an owner. He's not a very good, basically owner. But yeah. But the match itself was actually really, really good. It was an 8-man. It was a 8-man. I know how you hate those. But it was an 8-man tag, and it was basically everybody who has ever been good in Impact that is still on Impact or was a free agent at the time, that would be classified as heavyweights if we used actual weight classes in wrestling, in pro wrestling. So you had Tyrus, you had Eli Drake, you had Bobby Lashley, you had Magnus, you had basically all the guys that used to be, if they were ever actually a heavyweight and carried the TNA heavyweight title, the NWA heavyweight title, or the Global Force Wrestling heavyweight title, and were still willing to work with TNA, were in the match. And it was actually a really good match. If you get a chance to watch it, I would go check that out. The rest of the show, though, was kind of lackluster. We did have Eddie Edwards mess up a fight between. It's the Wolves thing. It doesn't really matter who Davey Richards was fighting because I can't remember it off the top of my head. But Eddie Edwards best intervened at the end. I mean, that's a continuation of that story. It's one of the few things that's worth watching on Impact TV. And then we have the continuation of the stuff that was going on with Laurel Van Ness, Chelsea Green, Laurel Van Ness, the wedding, Allie, Braxton Sutter, Sienna. Sienna said she was going to bring out a monster. She brought out a monster called Congo Kong, and I'm not sure what to feel about this. It was not good, and it felt like it felt like I was watching Memphis wrestling from the 70s when he showed up. And as somebody who is only distantly related to Pacific Islander descent stuff, I've never actually felt really offended by people making jokes about, like, semi-racist jokes, but at this point, something felt off-putting. I don't want to say offended, but I want to say it felt off-putting, if you get what I'm saying.
Just didn't feel right.
Yeah. Like, I felt like, I don't think you should be doing this. Maybe you should reevaluate this before you did this. But yeah, it's funny. But anyway, that was Impact, and that's all we need to say about Impact. Unless you've got anything to say about Impact.
I don't have anything to say about Impact.
Okay. And Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor was wasn't much of a show. Not like, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I just don't mean there wasn't anything. Nothing really happened on Ring of Honor that pushed any storylines forward, other than the Briscoes and Bully Ray. They took the 3-man tag belts, and they got that. They took that from the Kingdom and Silas Young. I think it was Silas Young that was with the Kingdom, to take in TK O'Ryan's spot after he busted his leg. And y'all remember us talking about TK O'Ryan busting his leg and all that. So yeah, I mean, that was the only thing that really happened. And Adam Cole would try to apologize to the Young Bucks through a just like a backstage interview thing. And don't know what's going to happen with that because Young Bucks weren't on TV. So other than that, everything is that's basically all the indie news we're going to really cover. Unless you saw any shows that you want to talk about.
Nah, I'm good, man.
Okay, cool.
My week was a little bit crazy, so I didn't get to dive into a whole lot of things outside of, the WWE. So, it happens.
I feel you. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, the only thing I really dived into besides all this was I got followed by Sexy Star. You know, everybody knows Sexy Star.
Oh.
Yeah, she followed me on Instagram. I don't, for some reason, them luchadoras, they love following me. And then I got lost in like watching or looking at the photos that Laurel Van Ness, Chelsea Green, and Zack Ryder have been posting. And I guess it's a good thing that Allie and Braxton got married instead of Laurel Van Ness and Braxton, because then we wouldn't be seeing all these cute photos of Zack Ryder and Chelsea Green doing all the stuff they're doing down in Cancun. If you're not following them on Twitter or on Instagram, follow them on Instagram. It's just at Zack Ryder and at Chelsea Green. It's pretty funny. They're cute and lovey-dovey and doing all the stuff. You know, I'm sure your wife would like looking at the Instagram photos. I don't know if you would because you're a big manly man, but I mean,
you know, gotta keep that street cred up, son.
I know why you secretly watch.
Hey, we ain't going into. This ain't about personal life. It's about wrestling. You know, we don't gotta go into nothing. So yeah.
I mean, you're gonna start getting. I know you get the hairspray box every week. It's a weekly box, not a monthly box like Loot Crate. It's special.
You can't stop the beat, son.
You can't stop the beat. You can't stop the beat. Well, let's keep on rocking and beating on to the next. Oh, golly. At least I didn't say beating off. Oops, I said it. Well, let's get on to the next topic. Ryan Cloud, what's the next topic?
We are diving head first into this whole big superstar shakeup or trades or, you know, whatever this kind of was.
Well, let's hit that Topa Suicida right into it.
All right. Well, actually, before we dive into who got traded where, I have to say that I'm really not sure how I feel about this. It doesn't really feel like it was. It kind of felt like on Sunday night, the, you know, creative and everybody got together, threw any kind of existing storylines out the window and said, who do we need to switch shows? Because there's going to be all kinds of storylines cut off because of this.
Well, I mean, a lot of the trades you called, I said, no, we can't do those. Those are going to mess things up. You're like, well, I mean, they would mess things up, but that's probably what they're going to do. And I was like, no, they're better than that. They're better than that. And they're like, they're not better than that. And they did. They just they're like, this Ryan Cloud guy, he's got some good ideas. Right? Ryan Cloud for creative.
I mean,
hashtag
Ryan Cloud for creative. Hashtag it. It's on. But yeah, it just felt like they took nothing into consideration and just kind of started doing this at random. And the end result doesn't, outside of a few or a couple, whatever, key pieces to SmackDown, it just kind of felt like they traded lower tier, the lower card wrestlers, and a few interchangeable mid-card wrestlers to kind of keep the show exactly the same, with the exception of a few surprises along the way. Did you feel like that?
Yeah.
Did you feel like that's how it was?
Exactly. It's exactly. It was weird. I'm sitting there at the Buffalo Wild Wings watching my shows, watching my stories. You know, like Grandma used to say. And man soaps. That's what they call them now. Like Irish Spring and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I was surprised that yes, that I mean, I don't even have words. That's the best way to describe all of the surprise that I saw when this was going on. I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. I mean, I was like, y'all could have did something. Like, I understand that we was gonna get some lower card wrestlers switch. Let's just go over the list. Let's just go over the list right now.
All right, hit that list right now.
All right, we'll say Raw's top acquisitions for the night. You have The Miz and Maurice.
I like that.
Dean Ambrose.
Nah, that's weird.
I'm just talking about top talent acquisitions. And you had Bray Wyatt.
That was really weird.
That is the top tier of Raw, or that was the top acquisitions for Raw. And then outside of that, you had Alexa Bliss, Mickie James.
Alexa Bliss would be considered a top tier or top acquisition also. I know, but I mean, according to them.
To them.
Yeah.
Mickie James, Apollo Crews. Kalisto could be a steal because he can go into 205.
Mm-hmm.
Heath Slater and Rhino, and Kurt Hawkins.
Man, like, it just feels like they are all they did. Oh, and you forgot an NXT call-up. You want to throw that in there?
Are you talking about
Elias Sampson?
Oh yeah, Elias Sampson. And that had been rumored to supposedly be happening for a while, but he just kind of came out creepy in the middle of a tag match. I don't even want to.
Yeah, he just kind of wandered out. He drifted on out because he's the drifter. And he's just like, I'm here. Hey guys. Oh, bye.
Showed up to a tag match. Don't even have a tag partner. I'm just seems
his tag partner's that guitar. He's gonna start tagging the guitar in, throwing it at people.
Truth. But yeah, I mean, like the biggest possible story. Go ahead.
It kind of feels like they're making fun of Jeff Jarrett.
That's what I was actually thinking in my head. I just didn't say it. I don't know why. Yeah, it definitely feels that way. But
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. We're good.
Do it.
We're good.
Do you, bro?
So, just kind of looking through the roster, and I was just kind of coming up with some things off, storylines out of those selections. I mean, you get, while Dean Ambrose is weird, you do have all of the Shield on one show now.
Yeah, that's actually a good boon.
Yeah, that's a good thing. We already talked about. Go ahead.
I was gonna say it felt weird the way they were teasing that Seth Rollins was going to SmackDown though. Like right after they brought out Dean Ambrose, they started teasing it that Seth Rollins was going to SmackDown. Like the way they did some of these, it felt like they were trading, and the way they were talking about it made it sound like they were trading Ambrose for Rollins, but then that didn't happen.
Which is good. I mean, I like Seth Rollins.
I'm glad.
Overall.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a shot in the arm for Raw having just all of these people. Well, all of the people that you initially mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that does scare me a little bit about the Miz coming over to Raw is I'm kind of afraid that he might end up getting buried. I mean, on SmackDown, the mid card was kind of bare, so it gave the Miz more time. It gave him more more camera time.
Yeah.
On Raw, while it's 3 hours, and you would think that would give him even that much more, they kind of have a pretty decent mid card area. Once you take out, Roman Reigns, who's going to end up being a main eventer.
He already is.
He already is, yeah. And Seth Rollins kind of teetering in obscurity right now since his whole, he's going to end up, feuding with Samoa Joe, and that's going to keep going.
Well, he's been out too, yeah. So it's not like that's kind of hard to play off of.
True, but I mean, you got Dean Ambrose, no surprise. You've got like we said, Samoa Joe. Mm-hmm. You'll have whoever loses the United States Championship match.
No, it's not whoever loses the United States champion. Whoever wins is gonna be on SmackDown.
Right.
But I think Kevin Owens is gonna be on SmackDown either way. The way they made it we didn't even cover SmackDown yet, and we're already speculating about it.
We'll get there, but
yeah. But I think it's the way they were talking about it was it sounded like Kevin Owens is staying on SmackDown either way, and then if Jericho wins, then he also goes to SmackDown. Is the way they made it sound to me, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was reading an article on it somewhere, and they just said the United States champion was going whoever won that match. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I
the
did,
belt's going over there either way, too.
yeah, I didn't really understand it while I was watching it. They just kind of complicated things. But yeah, let's just say Kevin Owens is going to win Chris Jericho's stage. You got Chris Jericho there. You have, let's see, any new acquisitions? The Miz is definitely above Apollo Crews.
Oh, yeah.
You got Finn Balor, who could be in that title picture. You got Bray Wyatt, who might be up in that title picture. I mean, there's some depth there, and I just don't want the Miz to get overshadowed. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
He's on the roll right now.
Oh yeah, he is probably one of the hottest things out there right now. Especially if they keep this gimmick up where he is John Cena. That is amazing. And I don't know, when all of a sudden Dean Ambrose came out to mess him up, I was like, what are they keeping both titles on what are they doing? Are they going to bring back other titles on the other show? What's going on here? Because I mean, if they're, and it wouldn't have bothered me if they had the IC title and the US title on the same show, because we know the freaking Universal title is going to be out of the picture. It's going to be on Lesnar for the entire year. I mean, it might change hands like twice maybe, but then it's going to go back. So it's not like there's anybody's actually going to be fighting for it.
Yeah, I don't even see it changing hands once, honestly.
I mean, I don't either, but I mean, at most it would change twice. I mean, twice as in go to one person, then go back to Brock Lesnar.
Right.
I don't mean go into like three different people. Like a Zack Ryder type of thing where it goes to somebody for like 24 hours and then they have like a special event on SmackDown where Brock Lesnar comes and takes the belt from the dude, a special Raw match on SmackDown just to put the belt back on Brock Lesnar or something.
But yeah, But the only other storyline that I could come out of, well, and like we said, Bray Wyatt kind of brings a new dynamic to Raw. Kind of leaves Eric Rowan kind of on his own over on SmackDown for no damn reason, but
yeah, and they keep talking about how he's an agent of the Wyatt family. I mean, at this point, all you're doing is like pouring salt in the wound by saying that.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, ha, we broke them up. Ha, see, I know we know you liked them, so we broke them up. Ha ha. Because they weren't selling as much merch as New Day. Because you didn't have merch for them. What are we going to do, buy Hawaiian shirts? No. Nobody's going to buy a Hawaiian shirt. And that goes from a guy who, well, I mean, we already went over Polynesian stuff. And, I don't know, they're afraid they'll get picketed and protested. Not Hawaiian shirts. It's stealing cultural identity. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just kind of angry about what I told you last week was going to get Becky Lynch protested over. It happened like Thursday. But we can talk about that in the news and rumor section. And anyway, I mean, the main thing that I got out of this switch up on the Raw end was that Alexa Bliss is really short.
This is true. This is some facts. She is tiny.
And that the SmackDown women's roster is all really short, or like not necessarily, or the Raw women's roster is really tall, because Alexa Bliss didn't look really short over on SmackDown when she would square up with people, but when she was squared up in the ring with Bayley and Sasha, she looked tiny. And yeah, that was the main thing, my main takeaway for the trade up on the Raw end.
Yeah, and with her, I kind of feel a little bad for her because she's kind of stepping into uncharted waters, on the Raw women's roster. Because I mean, you got some talent there. I mean, you got a Sasha Banks, Bayley, Nia Jax is coming out of her shell now.
Dana Brooke.
Yeah.
Best one on our roster.
Best one.
She's her own protege now.
She don't even need help. Said,
yeah.
Nah, Emma, ain't happening. But I mean, and Emma.
Yep.
I'd place Emma above Alexa. So she fell down the pecking order, and from first or second on SmackDown to fourth or fifth, depending on which one you want to put first, her or Dana.
Yeah. I mean, we've got, like I said last week, I'm pretty sure we're gonna see a feud between Sailor Moon and Harley Quinn, and Sailor Moon might be ditzy, but she's actually good in the ring, and Harley Quinn is just a Harley Quinn cosplayer who's not very good at much things.
I also forgot Mickie James. You got to put her ahead of Alexa.
She's out there now too. I don't know. It's like they want to continue that storyline that they've got going on. They're like, how do we do this? Let's just move them both. How's that sound? They just take their little bit of storyline that has intertwined with everybody and just pull them out. It's like when you got two trees that have grown together and you just rip one tree away from the other one. You're like, well, just put that tree over here now. It's weird. I guess we can talk about do you want to talk about the rest of Raw? Like any other things about Raw first, or do you want to switch over to talk about the rest of the SmackDown shakeup, and then we'll hit the couple random points about Raw and SmackDown?
We can go ahead and talk a little bit about. I guess we can go ahead and finish off the draft or the whatever you want to call it. We can go ahead.
I almost said the smack up, but okay. Shakeup.
Yeah.
All right. So who do we see traded over to SmackDown?
Well, on SmackDown, I have written down the U.S. champ. Let's just say it's Kevin Owens, and he's going to beat Chris Jericho because that's more likely than not.
Well, I mean, then that puts the Miz TV and the highlight reel on the same show.
True.
So that's why I feel like they're telegraphing Jericho going to SmackDown.
Yeah, but everything else they've done hasn't really made sense. So, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they had them both on the same show, or if Jericho takes a hiatus.
Well, yeah, we know he's going to go on. We know he's going on summer tour, because they've announced Fozzie's announced tours or announced dates. So we know he's going to be out for two, maybe 3 months, out touring. But what if, let me posit this to you, they have a Miz Jericho feud over what's going to be the show on Raw for up until Payback, and then he wins at Payback, and then goes to SmackDown. He as in Jericho.
Gotcha. Oh.
So like they come out and he's like, it's gonna be the Miz TV, and he's like, no, it's the highlight reel for a couple weeks, and they fight over it.
I want to say that feud would be absolute brilliance between those two.
Yes, it would.
I can see that happening in some form or fashion, but I still kind of feel like Kevin Owens is going to win. Is going to keep his U.S. title at Payback. I just have that feeling. Like I don't see them having him lose in the rebound match after WrestleMania.
Neither do I, but I see something weird happens that they take the belt off of him just to get Jericho over there, and then some kind of shenanigans happens and they've got to take it off of him. Something like that. But I don't know. I want to talk for a minute about how crazy it was, that promo that Kevin Owens did at the beginning of SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
That was amazing. it had shades of Bret Hart saying how he is how the face of America is a Canadian, all that stuff. That was gold. That was one of the best promos best promos for the U.S. title that I've heard in a long time. And Rusev did some really good ones. Well, I mean, he didn't really talk, but the promos that Rusev was doing with the U.S. title were pretty good. But the one that Kevin Owens did was pure Canadian gold.
Yeah, I mean, ever since this whole Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens thing has ended, Kevin Owens' promo levels have just gotten higher and higher and higher and higher. And I think this is just one more top-notch promo that he shot. And it doesn't... How do I put this? He's going to bring the U.S. title back to prominence. I mean, back to a prominence that probably might surpass what The Miz did for the Intercontinental title, even though that prominence or, that effect has lessened since Ambrose took over. But
yeah, they're definitely burying the IC title. It has definitely been super buried. For those of you that are interested, What Culture did a really good, and we're not associated with What Culture at all. We don't know any of those people, but anyway, they did a really good retrospective on how it looks like they are burying the IC title, and it doesn't look like it's going to help them any one bit. And yeah, you should go check that out. I think Simon Miller from What Culture, the dude that's like, oh, Goldberg's my dad, that stuff, that guy.
yeah.
He did the episode. It's pretty good. Go check that out. But yeah, it's definitely, I am in total agreement with them, and their method to fixing it is definitely not going to happen now because Baron Corbin and Ambrose are on different shows now.
Yeah. But I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. But yeah, as far as the U.S. title and that promo, Kevin Owens, is just a foreshadowing of how good he's going to make that title look.
Oh yeah.
I mean, what better tagline than the face of America? I mean, it's greatness.
Mm-hmm. It's very, very good. And the funny thing is, the people that are feuding over it, who all is going to be feuding over this title belt?
Well, out of the people that are still on SmackDown that weren't, brought over, you'd have AJ Styles, Baron Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, you'll have Rusev,
yep.
Probably. You'll have Sami Zayn.
Yep.
And
I like that one.
I mean, those are probably the two big ones right there. Or, I mean, those four big ones right there. And I'm really hoping that they kind of re-spark this Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens feud for a title. I mean,
yeah.
The fact that Sami Zayn got switched over to SmackDown gives him a new breath of fresh air. It gives him a little bit of life back into him, Because
mm-hmm.
On Raw, he was buried. He was the sacrificial lamb to the stars. Now on SmackDown, the alleged land of opportunity, he should have some new life. He should have, on what is kind of a bare roster, he should have some prominence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised that they actually moved him because basically, Kurt Angle said he basically said, if you beat The Miz, you're not going to be traded, and in different words. The way it seemed to me that he said was, if you beat The Miz, you're not going to be traded. And he beat The Miz, and then he showed up on SmackDown. It's like they didn't expect him to beat The Miz, or he wasn't booked to beat The Miz, and he beat him anyway. And then he was like, oh well, I guess we'll just trade him anyway, even though we just said we weren't. Which but still, it also still plays into the thing about him being the underdog, all that stuff. They're like, yeah, we said we weren't going to, but yeah, we're gonna do it anyway because you're Sami Zayn and we don't like you. Yeah.
But yeah, and on the back end of that, backing off away from Sami Zayn for a second, Rusev was also buried on Raw, and now he has a chance to come back into some prominence as a face or heel. I don't know which one's going to be. They've kind of teased both. But
Feel.
Huh?
He'll be a feel.
He'll be a feel.
Yeah.
But I mean, that helps him coming over a lot. And while we're on Rusev, did it feel like they kind of with Lana? Does it feel like they kind of decided we were going to do what we were going to do to Emma and just put it on Lana?
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing.
That's exactly what they did.
Because but that was Lana's character already.
Right.
So whatever they were gonna do with her, they should have just done with Lana in the first place because that was already Lana's character.
Yeah.
They didn't need to build her. And the other they had Ava Marie that was also that was also her character, and they didn't do anything with her. So I mean, they could have done stuff, they just didn't. And they were like, well, we'll put it on Emma then. No, we'll put it on Lana because I mean, she already has that character. It's like they took the most roundabout way to get to this that they could. Like, it's like they were trying to drive to Knoxville from Nashville, but they decided they needed to go through Chattanooga first.
Yeah.
Or needed to go through Atlanta, then to Knoxville. I don't know how you're going to do that, but...
Atlanta, then to Chattanooga, then to Knoxville.
Yeah, that's basically what they did to get to this point. Because, I mean, they had people that were already in that character they just weren't using. So why try to change somebody that you definitely know wasn't going to make it work in the first place? But it also felt like they kind of buried Rusev in the trade by just saying, oh yeah, we also got Rusev. They gave Jinder Mahal a match. They just announced Rusev.
Right.
They're wanting to push Jinder Mahal. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, they're definitely wanting to push Jinder Mahal in the mid-card picture, and I don't know why. Which, I mean, I don't know if he's in any backstage heat or not for giving, Finn Balor a concussion, but...
I mean, I wonder if the Revival's in any backstage heat for crushing what's-his-face's ankle.
Poor Kofi.
Yeah. We'll talk about what funny stuff later. Any other trades or any other things that are worth mentioning about this trade in SmackDown?
Well, actually, there's a few more things. Speaking of Kofi Kingston, the New Day is now on SmackDown, and that injects life into their tag team division. Well, at least some life, because the New Day doesn't necessarily have to be in the tag team scene to be relevant. They just have to exist.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that might inject some life if they decide to chase those titles. I don't know if they will or not.
See,
but
it makes my heart hurt that they moved them from Raw to SmackDown, and now SmackDown is what? American Alpha, and you called this trade. But I mean, what is SmackDown now? American Alpha, the Usos, and the New Day.
And the Shining Stars.
No, they're not the Shining Stars anymore. They're just Primo and Epico.
Oh.
They're not calling them the Shining Stars anymore. Somebody pointed that out to me. I was like, oh, okay. That's real important. I'm glad that that's a thing.
Yeah, it's... Like I said, for one, I'm really surprised that they didn't bring the Revival over to SmackDown to renew that feud with American Alpha.
Yeah.
That was one of those I can't believe you did that moments, because that would have instantly created interest in the tag team division, because they have a history, and it was a very short-lived history because American Alpha was brought up, apparently premature, because they're not connecting with fans. But
Yeah.
you know, it would have been smart to have brought the Revival over to SmackDown. But you know, that's just me. But
Yeah.
at least you get the New Day now and their shenanigans.
True. Very true. And then we also had the greatest women's wrestler ever.
And
Her father is a multi-time winning Hall of Famer. He is amazing. I think you know who I'm talking about, Ryan Cloud.
I know exactly who you're talking about. Tamia Snuka.
Yes, sir. That's who I'm talking about. You knew where I was going with
I
this.
know exactly where you was going. Yeah, I had it. Yeah, I had it in control.
Yep. And I'm glad to see Tamina back. I really am. I have several episodes. You're talking about Nia Jax. I'm like, I just want to see Tamina. I mean, you're like, but Nia Jax, she's a monster. I'm like, but Tamina.
And I will give you that. When Tamina does carry, she's not as big as Nia, but she does carry that aura of, I'm going to just kill everybody I see.
Yeah.
No pun intended on that with her daddy. But,
We're not talking about Superfly. We're talking about Tamina, so it don't matter. It's not a pun. It's cool. You good?
Okay.
You good?
Okay. Just make sure I wasn't being insensitive,
My feels. You've rustled my jimmies, sir. You've rustled them.
But yeah, Tamina actually, obviously the crowd was like, we want Sasha. But I was like, okay, Tamina brings a different dynamic. She kind of brings something different to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then we find out that Charlotte Flair is coming to SmackDown.
Yep. The Queen is here. She is here, and she's gonna rule over this kingdom as well. It's like in Game of Thrones when I don't know any Game of Thrones references. I'm sorry. I was trying to think of somebody. It's like winter's coming. Something's going to happen. But I just couldn't think of anything. I'm sure somebody takes over another kingdom in that show. Isn't that the little Jeffrey takes over some other kingdom? She's basically going to be Jeffrey.
I don't even know who Jeffrey is. But
we've just lost all of the people that were listening.
Everybody's like, these guys don't even watch Game of Thrones. They can't know anything about wrestling. But
stupid. Wow, they got stupid Sling TV. Don't have HBO. They don't even know nothing.
They don't know anything. But yeah, I mean, Charlotte. It kind of feels like Charlotte was brought over for the sheer purpose of holding the SmackDown Women's title. That feels like that is her only purpose for coming to SmackDown is to build that brand up by just holding the title, because they don't have anybody. Don't get me wrong. Becky Lynch is great. Don't get me wrong, she is. But she did not bring prominence to that title while she was holding it.
When she held it,
matches. Don't get me wrong, she puts on great matches. But I don't know.
Well, it's not that she didn't bring prominence to the brand. It's that she didn't have anybody to fight against.
True.
You can't really bring prominence to the brand when you're not fighting anything, when you don't have any matches that are worth anything. I mean, it's like me and Ryan Cloud going into a tag match with a bunch of like 5-year-olds. Yeah, we got this title, we're the best, but we're beating up 5-year-olds. Nobody's gonna watch that.
We gain some heat, we gain some heat. The heels.
That's true. We'd be like Joey Ryan over here pouring baby oil on ourselves and beating up 5-year-olds, or the Young Bucks. That's how the Young Bucks got a lot of heat on them, because they beat up a 12-year-old.
But I mean, but with Charlotte, I mean, it's basically the same roster minus 2 people that were title contenders.
Yeah.
So I mean, we know we're not going to see just Charlotte and Becky. I just feel like Charlotte has that persona and has that charisma to just make anything seem interesting. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, Charlotte, Becky, and Tamina all have charisma, and they all have the ability to make pretty much anything seem interesting. But if they're fighting somebody who is a charisma vacuum, then you can only do so much. So that's the problem that Becky's been having is whenever she's fighting somebody, it's somebody that has that's a charisma vacuum, except for Mickie James, and that's why everybody's been wanting to watch the Mickie James Becky Lynch fights. But if we see a Mickie James, and nothing against Carmella, she's great. I like Carmella, but she's just not there. She's not on the same level. No. But like, so we see a Becky Lynch and a Charlotte fight, that's going to be awesome. Or a Becky Lynch and a Tamina fight, that's going to be awesome too. And if we see Becky Lynch versus Carmella, just the fact that Charlotte is there and that gives somebody else to fight, that is worth watching. Like, I didn't really want to see Carmella versus Alexa Bliss because Carmella's not there, but she is close, and Alexa Bliss is just not. She's okay in the ring, but she's not that much of a. I don't want to like listen to her on the mic. I don't want to do any of that. And nothing against her. She's good. She's just not there yet. And like Carmella versus Alexa, that's not something that I wanted to see. But I'm willing to. I want to watch. I would rather watch a Carmella versus Charlotte or a Carmella versus Becky, and the fact that there is a Charlotte or a Becky there at the same time on the same show, that gives more chances for people to see an interesting match versus something that's going to be kind of slow and boring.
I feel you. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just waiting for Asuka to come.
I mean, we're always waiting for Asuka to come. It's one of those things. But I don't know when it's going to happen, and they're just going to tease it and tease it.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we talk just a smidgen about NXT closer, to the end, because I do have some things to say about NXT. Just a few. Anyways, as far as the draft goes, I think that's the main points. Right quick, who picked on both Raw and SmackDown? Can you name one superstar that you feel like definitely should have been traded, but just kind of got stuck? You go ahead, and I'll chime in a little bit.
Oh, you forgot to say Sin Cara also joined.
Well, yeah, Sin Cara.
Yeah. I was kind of surprised they didn't trade Aiden English after this stuff. That's not really somebody that I would have is stuck. I was just surprised that he didn't get traded. I can't really think of anybody that I would say is stuck.
Well, I mean, if you were surprised that you maybe thought in the back of your head they should be traded for whatever reason.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess Aiden English, but that's not really a good answer. I was kind of surprised that they didn't trade the whole of the Wyatts, or that they traded Bray, and that they didn't trade Strowman over to SmackDown, or they didn't trade Rowan and Bray together, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you. I guess if I had to choose someone from Raw that I was surprised didn't get traded, I would have, even though they kind of have a thing going right now, I would have said Cesaro.
Okay.
I would have said Cesaro. Like, it feels like he's long. I know he's in this tag team with
Sheamus O'Shaughnessy.
Oh, see, you got me saying his whole name, Sheamus. I know he's got
Antonio Cesaro,
Sheamus, and I know that if I remember correctly, they're the number one contenders for the tag team titles. Correct?
Yeah.
But that didn't stop them from trading other people. So,
yeah, it's true.
The fact that Cesaro is still kind of not getting that push that, he quite literally deserves, it's shocking to me that they didn't move him to SmackDown.
I think they just forgot about him, to be completely honest.
True. I mean,
did you see what he tweeted out last week?
I did not.
It was a ad for the Switzerland tour. He's from Switzerland, right?
Oh, I did see that.
And he said, I can't even get on a poster for my own country. And then Kenny Omega pointed out that Xavier Woods was on the poster twice.
Oh, poor Cesaro. He gets no respect.
It's true. And it was so weird because Xavier Woods was on the poster twice, and his head was like popping out of his like bicep. So there's like half of his head was on his bicep. So he was on there twice. And then Kenny Omega asked, "What's your shirt size? I've got a club you might want to join." So maybe we're going to see, what was his name in Ring of Honor? Something Castagnoli.
Antonio Castagnoli? I don't know.
I don't think it was Antonio, because that's his name in WWE. We're just going to call him Antonio Castagnoli. Maybe we're going to see Antonio Castagnoli in Ring of Honor in part of the Bullet Club.
Might be a little bit better situation than he's got now.
Yeah, possibly. But whatever. It's funny. It's just funny. But yeah, anybody else you think? What do you think about SmackDown?
SmackDown's a little bit harder. Honestly, I thought they may have traded. I kind of felt the Miz, but the one I was surprised they didn't, trade Baron Corbin over to Raw. I mean,
that's who I was thinking about saying, but I was like, I don't know.
It's not like they continued this whole thing with Dean Ambrose, because Dean Ambrose went over there too. So, but I was definitely kind of expecting him to go to Raw.
I understand this. I don't want to say I agree, but I agree.
You don't disagree.
Correct. All right. And speaking of the new face of America being a Canadian, the new face of American sodas should be clearly Canadian. It is a lightly carbonated, lightly flavored water. That's what is the best thing for you instead of soda. Clearly Canadian. Get it at your local store, in your local store.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. I just had to grab one out of the fridge.
But you know who is a sponsor?
Who's that, Ron Cloud?
One of our great sponsors for this awesome podcast is Audible. Lee, tell them a little bit about Audible.
Audible.com is your source for audio books. If you don't like reading, but you love reading, your place to go is Audible.com, where you can get all kinds of interesting stories. They've got just Jericho's, Chris Jericho's books. They've got Mick Foley's books. They've got Kurt Angle's books. They've got all kinds of books. They've got Donald Trump books, if you're into that kind of stuff. They've got all kinds of things. So check it out in the link in the description below, and you can get 2 free books for 30 days. All that stuff. I haven't read any books this week, so I don't have any to recommend, but I will go back to a book that I've recommended in the past. It is called Undisputed by Chris Jericho. It is a story about Chris Jericho's life and times of becoming the undisputed champion after unifying the WCW and the WWE, at the time WWF, titles. It is a awesome book. Check it out by following our link in the description below.
I'm all about some books. No, I'm not. I hate books.
Hey.
I'm
but you like audio books.
Exactly. I mean, I'll listen to them all day. I'll be sitting there jogging and listening to some Shakespeare, and I'll just be jogging, and,
Brian Cloud doesn't know how to Shakespeare.
I know how to Shakespeare.
Oh.
That where I just, go and, shave a stick down into a spear and just shake with it. I don't know. Anyways.
I'm not even, I was trying to think of a joke. And the only thing I could think of was, like, the guy that was like a voodoo guy in Memphis wrestling and then was a voodoo guy in WWE, but I couldn't think of his name, so the joke failed.
Bomb. Anyways,
Yeah.
I guess we could go to a few things on Raw and SmackDown. Can we do that? Is that legal?
Sure. Well, I mean, there are things that happen on Raw that were illegal, so we might as well cover those.
All right. Well, I don't really have anything big to say about Raw. I got some takeaways from Raw.
I mean, there was something big that happened. I mean,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Probably
So,
like
what did
you
you
said,
think?
wasn't legal, but it happened.
What do you think about Roman Reigns' his promo?
Refresh my memory. I can't really remember right now.
He basically said, I really, really respected the Undertaker, and I just didn't know I was gonna have to retire him, but I had to retire him, and it was sad, and I was a sad puppy, and it made me really sad. That I had to retire him, but I had to, and I'm the big dog now. It felt like 2 steps back after that 1 step forward when he said, "It's my yard now," and then walked out.
See, man, this is the WWE doing things just that they shouldn't do. I mean, you had Roman Reigns at a trajectory of being a great heel. Not a dirty heel, just a great heel by his actions. I mean, like we said last week, Roman Reigns, the promo he cut with "I'm the big dog now, drop the mic," that was perfect. That was how Roman Reigns should be booked. Not this horse crap.
And he can still be projected as a face by WWE, but that's good as a face can do that. Like what he just did. A BA face can do that. But this, now he seems like a white meat baby face, which is the ones that nobody wants to cheer for. And I guess it's because people were saying, oh, that's so good. He did so good. And they're trying to make him, what was that thing that Triple H said in that interview with Sports Illustrated where he's like, oh, he actually is a heel. It's just we're pushing him as a face. People got behind him when he did something heelish, so they're like, no, you've done too good. Go back to being bad. Yeah. That's what it feels like. It feels like they're like, oh God, we need to make sure he is like a bad face, not a good heel.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. Why would you do that to Roman Reigns? And Roman Reigns, in all honesty, felt genuine when he was doing that either BA face, as you called it, or that, heel top row. Like, that's my yard, drop the mic. That's all you have to do. My yard, drop the mic. Come out the next day or the next week, be like, I retired Taker. And then
I said what I said. Yeah, I said what I said. What else you need to know? And walk away.
I retired Taker. It's my yard. And just back out, just walk off. I walked away from the mic. I have no idea why, but yeah.
I'm so into my character of being Roman Reigns, I knocked my mic over and walked away.
But that's how he should be booked. I mean, come on, WWE. Come on.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And I guess as a retaliation, there is this gentleman who I believe is just a insert for the fans at this point.
Wrestling fans' new favorite hero.
Yes, he is Braun Strowman.
This Twitter went crazy. Lee, before I say anything, you tell him what happened.
So, he beat that man's ass all over the stadium.
Every corner, did not miss an inch.
And then the EMTs showed up and they're like, oh no, he's like dead. We need to do something. So they put him on a gurney and they start rolling him away. And then Braun appears out of nowhere. How do you miss this guy? But he just appears out of nowhere.
How do you miss a giant just walking down
and then he grabs the gurney and throws it off the loading dock. And then he disappears again. And then they're like, oh no, let's put him back on the gurney. They put him back on the gurney. They start to put him in the ambulance. And then Braun appears out of nowhere again and flips this ambulance. Oh my God. And, yeah.
It felt like I was watching something out of the Attitude Era. I'm not going to lie.
Yes. And there are some questions that a lot of people that are journalists have. They're saying, well, there's no way you could have flipped an ambulance. There's no way you could have flipped that ambulance. And they ask a guy who is a professional strongman. He said, well, we haven't flipped cars in a long time, and I can't flip an ambulance, but I can flip a car, so he can't flip an ambulance. So I'm not sure if he flipped an ambulance, but it definitely looked like he flipped an ambulance. It didn't look like there was anything attached to it.
No, it looked like he legitimately. I mean, unless they had something attached on the other side to pull it, but they
didn't look like it.
I'm about to say they did some awesome camera work if that's the case.
They had the bricks that they put next to a car when they go to the strongman competitions. They had put those next to the side of that ambulance. That's the only thing I saw, which the bricks that sit on the wheel that allow you to get leverage when you're lifting. They didn't put the bar on because when they flip cars in those contests, they have like running bars on trucks.
Yeah.
They attach those to the cars. Then they put some bricks on the sides of the wheels, and then they grab the running board and flip the car. They didn't have that on the ambulance, but they had those bricks. It looked like he flipped that ambulance to me.
And as big as he is, I bet you he flipped that ambulance.
I mean, he used to do that. That used to be his job before he joined the WWE. So, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. People are saying, well, ambulances are too heavy to flip. That ambulance is probably gimmicked. Just saying. It probably was missing a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So it probably wasn't a 51,000 pound, and that number that people kept citing, 51,000 pounds for an ambulance, that seems way too heavy.
Pretty heavy.
Yeah. But at the same time, ambulances are pretty big. But they're E350 trucks, E350 vans with a box on the back. They're heavy. Don't get me wrong, they're heavy.
I can't flip it.
Yeah. Jinx, you owe me a soda. You owe me a clearly Canadian. No.
You and your clearly Canadian.
Callbacks. But yeah. I'm sure, I have a feeling that he flipped that ambulance. And then then he disappeared again. And then, the EMTs came and they put, Roman Reigns in the back of another ambulance, smaller ambulance. And then I almost expected him to appear at the end of the tunnel and make them get out and then flip the ambulance again. That I almost expected that to happen.
Braun Strowman just became everybody's nightmare and everybody's hero at the same time.
Yes.
I mean, Twitter went off. I saw so many memes pop up after that.
Oh yeah.
I think one was and that Braun Strowman became the greatest wrestler of all time.
Truth. That is the most truthful statement Ryan Cloud has ever said. And he once chopped down a cherry tree and then told everybody about it. So, I mean, that's how we know it's true.
But you would think that WWE at this point would listen to their fans, because clearly that was an attempt to get Roman Reigns over. But
it just gets Braun over even more.
Braun went from nothing to something just because the WWE thought it'd be a good idea to have Roman Reigns kind of look like that underdog face. I don't know why you would want Roman Reigns to look that way.
They wanted to be Sami Zayn.
And it just made everyone just love Braun.
Yep.
I mean, by the end of this feud, Braun is going to be a main eventer.
He's already a main eventer now.
Pretty much. I'm like, when did this happen? When did the lackey to Bray Wyatt, when he first showed up, just basically push people, turn into this main event monster face? I'm calling him a face because everybody likes him.
He's a monster face. It's so weird.
So
I mean, that's what happens when Rowan gets hurt and oh my gosh, I can't think of the other dude's name.
Luke Harper.
Yeah, and Harper gets hurt, and then it's just Bray and Braun. So, I mean, they didn't know what to do. They're like, oh, let's just push him. And let's bury this other guy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But, yeah, Braun is now everybody's favorite wrestler.
Yep.
So, Braun versus Brock Lesnar. Calling it.
Well, I mean, we already know that's going to happen. He called him out like last week.
True.
So when I said the titles are going to switch hands, that's who I thought the title was going to switch hands to. It's going to be Brock and Braun are going to feud for a week after while what's his face is off TV or something for an injury. We know he's not going to be kept off TV now, though. I guess I'm going to jump ahead a little bit into rumors. We know what's his face, Roman Reigns. I mean, might as well just call him what's his face at this point.
That guy.
Yeah, that guy. He is hurt. He has broken ribs. A laundry list of stuff that is a result of this, and I don't remember what the whole laundry list was, but part of it was broken ribs. And what WWE has said was, don't worry, he's still going to be at house shows and working shows. What is that? WWE, what are you thinking? That's stupid.
Extremely stupid. Or does it scream just, these are kayfabe injuries? That's
exactly what it screams. And if you're doing that, then why even do this? I mean,
it doesn't make sense. It's WWE sense is what it is. WWE logic. Hashtag WWE logic.
WWE login? You selling those now? Let me buy one for me.
Don't get me in trouble, son. I gotta make a living.
Going on theleak.com. I'm pretty sure that is a magazine where they leak celebrity photos, but TMZ. But I might be lying. I'm not sure. I think I just made that up.
This may be all made up, but
it's all kayfabe. Don't worry.
It's all kayfabe. But yeah, that's so I hate it.
The other funny thing that happened on Raw was this inflatable Kofi Kingston. And Big E just getting his hump on that inflatable Kofi Kingston.
It's Big E. Come on. Only thing that scares me a little bit is when eventually the New Day does run out of juice, and it will eventually.
Nope, never gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. I'm calling it. It's gonna happen. It may not be
Kings.
It may not be next week. It may not be next month.
For always.
It may
Kings
not be
for
next
always.
year, but it's gonna happen.
Kings for always. You sound like an angry black Vince McMahon.
I ain't gonna try to make a Vince McMahon black man voice.
You just did when you were saying it was gonna happen.
But when they do eventually disband, Big E is going to be in a prime position to, win a top title.
Oh yeah.
But all of these shenanigans just going to weaken his brand? Or is it going to make it better? Who knows?
It's going to make it better.
I mean, he could end up winning the title as the hip-thrusting Big E. I don't know.
He definitely is. That's definitely how he's going to win it. He's going to win it with one of those moves that's traditionally done by a woman, like one of those moves where they hit you with your butt that Peyton Royce does, and that Naomi does, and was that the new girl on NXT, Ruby Riott? Yeah. She did in that match. And it's a mainstay for like Chelsea Green, Laurel Van Ness, and Allie from TNA. He's gonna win a title with one of those moves, which is gonna be hilarious. That's how he wins the heavyweight title. He's just like, boom, hip thrust, boom, booty bump. I'm surprised he hasn't already used one of those moves.
Oh, he will.
I'm sure he will.
He will.
I want him. Speaking of Big E, he needs to officiate your wedding. It'll be hilarious.
No, he might be too pricey for me. I don't know.
I mean, you just say I talk about you on my radio show, and he'll be like, "Oh my God, really?" And then y'all gotta like hip thrust together, not at each other, but together. You know what I'm saying? And then he'd be like, "Oh man, kindred spirits." And then y'all like become buddies. You fist bump, and you like, and you do that thing where you fist bump jellyfish, and he's like, "Oh my gosh!" And then he jellyfishes you, and then it's great. And then y'all become buddies, and then you'll get him on the show. It'll be great.
Yep. Exactly what's gonna happen.
And then he'll officiate your wedding. I forgot where I was going.
Just gotta stop the best friends for life. I don't know. But yeah, Raw.
That was Raw.
Pretty much. Those are your big takeaways there.
I mean, also was this Sasha introducing Bayley thing? Was this a beginning of a Sasha heel turn?
Probably. I'm surprised it didn't happen in WrestleMania, honestly.
Yeah.
That's where I thought that it was going to happen. So
exactly.
I mean, you take away your top heel and send her to SmackDown. You got to have a replacement, and the best replacement at this point would be Sasha. So. Yeah.
I think they're going to try to push Alexa as that, though. Like I said last week, when they put those two as the two being, then when they telegraphed those two as the traded two. Also, so anything about SmackDown?
We have a new number one contender for the U.S. title. In
Gronkowski?
Yes. God, I'm getting sick of him. Anyways. Because I hate the Patriots, so, you know. But no.
Yeah, you and Daniel Bryan. Y'all should become buddies. Then he can officiate your wedding.
No. Don't get me wrong, I like Daniel Bryan.
You don't like Daniel Bryan.
I like him, but
you hate Daniel Bryan.
You need to quit starting rumors.
I mean, that whole album was about me. Rumors, you know.
Yeah.
Writings on the wall. All right. Anyways,
we got AJ Styles. He's gonna more than, if my predictions are correct, he's gonna end up fighting Kevin Owens for the U.S. title. How great is that going to be?
That'll be amazing. That'll be perfect.
That'll be a match of the year contestant. I can tell you that much.
Oh yeah, definitely. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles. Put any of them in a match together, and I will give you all of my monies. All of the monies.
All of the monies.
Yep.
Well, we saw a little bit of that in the triple threat match, which is going to be my match of the week. I'm just going to say that. And I mean, it's just AJ Styles is just phenomenal.
I mean, that's why they call him that.
That's what that
P1. That's what that P1 stands for. It's exactly what it stands for. I was surprised that he was wearing that shirt that was all red when he walked out for Team Blue during this whole thing. It was really surprising. He was like, this was my new Raw stuff, but I didn't actually get traded. Ha!
If he would have got traded, I probably would have rioted. It'd been Ferguson all over again. I'm just saying.
You would have. Oh God. Oh God! Don't get us protested, Ryan Cloud.
Oh yeah, true.
That's gonna happen in like 3 weeks after this. This is gonna come out, and then 3 weeks later they're gonna be like, oh, We heard what you said 3 weeks ago.
Come find me, bro.
They will. Scary things that happen.
It's cool. Where I live, I'll probably see them coming. I'm just saying.
It's going to be like that Blood Red Summer song by Coheed and Cambria, the video for it. You're basically going to have that happen. It's going to be scary. Ryan Cloud versus the Evil Dead. Evil social justice warriors.
But back to SmackDown. Yeah. So that's a good thing. They're also pushing Mojo Rawley.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't care.
Him and Jinder Mahal are both being pushed to be these mid-carders. I don't know why.
I don't care about either of them. Oh my God. And I definitely don't care about Gronkowski.
Yes.
There is a rumor going around that he is going to sign with WWE soon. And I don't care about that either. And I don't want that to happen.
As long as he's a Patriot, that's not happening.
Well, that's true. But that's something that's been being bandied about. He is the next big name to jump ship from the NFL to the WWE. So I don't care. I don't want that. If I were going to pick somebody, who would you pick instead of him to be the next?
In the NFL?
Emmitt Smith? Yeah.
Yes, Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt Smith. At least an Emmitt. It's like, what? Emmitt Smith.
I don't know. Who would I want? Marshawn Lynch.
Ooh. I like that. I'm talking about the clearly Canadian, not your pick. No, your pick was actually, I like that. It's a good idea. I don't know who I would pick. Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah,
I hate Pac-Man Jones.
I was about to say, really? Didn't we get a taste of that in TNA?
I hate him, but I'd like to see him get beat up because he cut me off in traffic once.
I know.
See, but the people don't know. They don't know that I was driving through Green Hills, Tennessee, and he was like, I'm driving in my orange Lamborghini that has the Lamborghini logo taken off, and it has Pac-Man written in it. And he's got some black wheels that have little ghosts running down one of the spokes, and Pac-Man in the little center caps. And this is before he threw all his money at a stripper and all this stuff, and then all of the things. But this is the first time I realized I didn't like him. And as he cut me off, he then flicked me off. And I was like, why you gotta do that?
I was a fan.
I like the Titans. Now I hate them. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Pac-Man.
Yep.
Nom, 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 nom.
I used to say thanks a lot, Pac-Man, all the time when I used to play arcade games. And now I'm saying thanks a lot, Pac-Man, because... Anyway, I don't know who I would pick either. Peyton Manning. No.
As a GM, I don't get it.
He would run everything, because that's what he does. He runs all the things. I can't think of anybody. I wouldn't pick... I just don't want to see Rob Gronkowski. I don't want to see him anymore. He can go away.
AJ Hawk. There you go. AJ Hawk.
Okay. Now, speaking of things with the name, start with H, Hawk, I was going to say the Big Hog. We got to see the Big Hog this week. You know who the Big Hog is, right?
I don't.
That's old Ellsworth. Him, Carmelsworth. That's what he's calling himself now. He is Carmelsworth. And Naomi has been calling him Carmella's side chick.
Yes, and that was funny.
That was a comedy. That was the best comedy. And yeah, the other thing that I thought my other takeaway for the week for SmackDown was Charlotte has basically copied Sienna from TNA, Impact, all that. Copied her robe that she wears to the ring, but done it so much better. The peacock robe she wore this week. Oh my God, it was amazing.
It was.
And there's apparently some kind of backstory about it. I did not read because I don't read. But there was some backstory that they said was a thing. And anyway, so I mean, you got anything else about SmackDown, Rackwell?
Outside of, I was about to say, outside of Ziggler and Nakamura headed for a feud.
Yep.
And I just kind of feel like at this point, and this is going to sound bad, but at this point, Nakamura just seems so much better than Ziggler.
Oh, he is. He is. He definitely is.
And he better just dominate this feud for rep points.
I mean, I want to see him, like, lose a first couple just to, like, make it look like he's, but not lose in a way that's, like, bad or anything. I want to see him lose, but make it look like he's lost intentionally. Just like he's playing with Ziggler. That would be my ideal way of doing this. And, like, lose intentionally just to be playing with Ziggler, but as a face, which is kind of a weird thing, but that's how I want to see this played out. That would be great. Did you watch Talking Smack?
I did not.
When they were interviewing Dolph Ziggler about it, he seemed so giddy that he was going to fight Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, you know when you meet whenever, like, they do interviews about people who were in movies with Arnold Schwarzenegger or people like that. Like, they interview, like, a kid who was in a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and he seems all giddy. That's how Ziggler seemed. And I don't know why, because Ziggler and Shinsuke are, I want to say, about the same age. But
yeah.
But the way Ziggler seemed like a giddy little schoolgirl when they were interviewing him, but it seemed like he was trying to hide his giddiness. It was so funny. And he's, like, eating an apple to try to, like, you know, people, that old trick that whenever you're trying to call a girl on the phone, you should have an apple, chew your apple, and that hides your, that'll help hide your nerves, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Yeah. And he walked out there with an apple. It was like he was telegraphing that old thing that they would tell, like, 12-year-old boys when they're trying to ask a girl out on their first ever date. It was so funny. But yeah. And the other thing, I was surprised they didn't change Kevin Owens' intro to blue. That's the only other thing that I would have changed about this week.
I wasn't overly upset with that.
You were overly upset about that?
I wasn't.
Wow, that's pretty. I was pretty angry about things that don't really matter.
You know, I'm not trying to say that I was upset with it. I'm just saying.
Okay. I see what you're doing. But speaking of Shinsuke, did you see the Goodbye Shinsuke on NXT?
I did, and it was one of those that it felt short, sweet, and I was really impressed with that little speech he put together, honestly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like talking about how NXT's so different and all this, and talking about this is your style. I was like, oh, Shinsuke.
Shinsuke, you know what we're talking about. It's okay.
No, dude, man, you're going to get us sued, man.
See, I wasn't making an Asian voice. I just said, you know what you're talking about. Then you tried to do an Asian voice.
No, you did it. Don't be lying. I heard it. Everybody else heard it.
I said, oh, Shinsuke, you know what you're talking about? Because I was about to say, oh, Finn Balor. And then do a Finn Balor voice. Because then he walked out.
What?
Did you not see Finn Balor?
I did not see Finn Balor.
He walked out, or right after Shinsuke walked to the top of the ramp. And he started doing the Shinsuke cross your arms thing that he does. Then Finn Balor appeared from behind the crowd and, like, gave him a big hug. And it was like for the last 3 seconds, he was like, Finn Balor's here, and then off.
I must have been preoccupied. I don't know. But yeah, it felt like a heartwarming goodbye. And it also kind of felt like the end of an era, which is kind of weird because Shinsuke was only there for a year, but he kind of represented that old guard, that old way that NXT, was, and I don't know, like everything about NXT this week felt like new.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't see Asuka. We didn't see the two the women's match was two new people. I feel like everything was new, but it wasn't.
But I mean, I'm not just saying like new as in like the people. I'm talking about new as in the atmosphere.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like it before it kind of had that ROH type feel. Like this time it felt like it was ROH. Like they were emulating ROH.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's shot like NXT's always been shot like an indie show. And it's shot like NXT's always been shot like if WWE was shooting an indie show. But this week it felt like it was an indie show, the way it was being shot. Like they threw off the pretense of WWE. So yeah, I get exactly what you're saying.
But I mean, we saw some things. I'm still kind of marking out over some Aleister Black.
Aleister Black.
I mean he is the next big thing. He has to be.
Definitely.
I mean, I've not really heard him talk any.
I don't think he's said anything yet.
I don't think so. But he's the next big thing. He's like CM Punk mixed with
The Undertaker.
The Undertaker mixed with a little bit of Sami Zayn, or not Sami Zayn, but Daniel Bryan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's that kick that he ended the match with.
The black mass?
The black mass. That looked like it hurt.
I'm sure it did.
That kick was not pulled at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that guy might have been out. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure. We can cover a little bit of that. Something that has to do with that on the in the rumor section. But yeah, dude, if you want to see strong style, that is strong style. He is the replacement for Shinsuke Nakamura, if anybody's a replacement for Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if... I mean, he should win the NXT title at some point.
Next week.
I doubt it'll be next week, but when he moves up to the main roster, and he will eventually move up to the main roster...
Oh, yeah.
He's going to be... If they don't mess with him and they let him kind of do his own thing, like they let some of these other popular indie stars do, he's gonna make something of himself once he gets to the main roster.
Definitely. Who do you want to see him feud with?
On the main roster?
Anybody that's on WWE, not just like anybody out there.
Okay. If I had to pick someone for him to feud with, I could see him feuding with like a Finn Balor.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. Balor or a Wyatt.
Or a Wyatt, yeah.
I would see him feud with Eric Young for now, since he's on NXT. That would be a good feud. Yeah, I think that'd be great. Mm-hmm. You don't need the rest of Sanity to be involved with it at all. But, of course, they will be. But, because, you know how those things work. But it wouldn't even matter. It doesn't matter. They wouldn't need to be involved with that. It'd be great on its own. Like, just him being against Eric Young. That'd be great.
Yes.
What did you think about the new team that DIY fought?
Well, you mean what was left of them after that loss? I think the big guy is massive.
He is
a massive human being.
It felt like they were burying the other dude, and they were going to push the big guy, and then at the end, where he beats up the little dude, I'm like, oh, they called it. He's got something. There's something gonna happen with him. I'm calling it now. He is gonna be, if not NXT champion, one of the. Didn't they say he was from another country? I have a feeling, huh?
I was about to say, I know he's from another organization. I mean, the crowd knew him. I mean, the crowd made that evident.
Yeah, I'm not sure who he is. but I feel like they said he was from another country, so he could be a contender for maybe that UK title if he's from the UK. I'm not sure where he's from, but I want to see a belt on. I want to see more titles in NXT. Is that crazy of me to say?
I wouldn't mind a secondary title in NXT.
Yeah, because I mean the UK title isn't really a title for NXT. It's just it happens to be on NXT at this current moment. Is the way it feels, and only slightly. So yeah, I would want to see something, and I want to put it on that guy.
Yeah, that's something NXT really needs to do. But that guy I just, like, at first glance, I didn't realize how big he was. I'll be honest. And then as I really watched the match, I was like, that guy is ridiculously big.
That guy is a monster.
I like how Johnny, it was Johnny Gargano. He went for a clothesline and dude just ran through it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy. It's craziness. I definitely see big things for that guy. Right, I wrote, "Oh crap, big dude." It's my notes, and I wrote, "This new team's pretty good. They're probably just enhancement talent though. That's sad." And then I was like, "Oh crap, big dude." And then I was like, "Oh, other guy's just enhancement for big dude." I wish I had caught his name, but I did not. Then I guess there was the only other thing. Well, there's two other things that I have written down for NXT. I guess I'll hit those really quickly. Nikki Cross. This is the best Nikki Cross has ever looked, and she wasn't even in the ring. This whole episode, but this is the best she's ever looked, and she was just out on the outside of the ring looking menacing, and I thought that was great. I haven't been anywhere. I haven't cared anything about Nikki Cross until just this moment, because the way that the presence that she had on the outside of the ring just now or just then was the best she's had her entire time in NXT. I feel like she's starting to get into her own right now. Before, it feels like she's been kind of relying on Eric Young to be her big boon, but the fact that she was out there by herself, that made her look a lot stronger than she has this whole time, and she didn't even do anything. She just kind of stood there. And then the other thing that was weird was seeing Drew Galloway / McIntyre on NXT. I've gotten used to seeing him on not WWE programming, and then the fact that they put him on NXT instead of main card was kind of seemed slightly off-putting, but I can understand putting him there because he has been away for a while, but so is a lot of people, so I don't know. That was my two NXT takeaways.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, Drew McIntyre just looks like a champ in waiting. I mean, he just has that look. I mean, we're going to see him and Bobby Roode definitely fight for the title, I think. I think that's definitely the road we're going to see be taken.
Yeah, it's going to be just like it was last year this time on Impact.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it'll be a good match, but I mean, Drew I was about to say Galloway. Drew McIntyre.
Don't get us sued.
No, I'm trying not to. I ain't got the money to pay a lawsuit. Drew McIntyre, I was surprised that he took, that they made that match with Oney Lorcan a lot closer or a lot closer. I'm surprised that it was as close as it was. I figured they were going to, make it seem kind of like a
super one-sided match.
Yeah, super one-sided match when you're reintroducing Drew Galloway.
I know how you like Oney Lorcan.
I do like Oney Lorcan. I'm not gonna lie. I think he's a good talent. He's kind of the talent that debuts newcomers, because I'm pretty sure he debuted Aleister Black, if I'm not mistaken. He did. But Drew Galloway, I don't think he'll be on NXT long though. Because he is Vince's guy. Or was Vince's guy way back then.
He was. And then he made Vince sad. And then he went to join with Dixie. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, definitely, it just seemed weird that they put him on NXT instead of just making him go directly to the main card, because he was on the main card at one point already. It'd be like if they brought back, I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
If they brought back Aaron Rex, well,
yeah,
Damien Sandow.
Yeah, Sami Sandow. If they brought him back, or they brought back Rey Mysterio or somebody and put them on NXT, it just seems weird to me. But at the same time, I understand he's been in Impact for a while. He's got to relearn the system, the WWE system. So I don't know. And maybe it's just a punishment for him having gone to Impact TNA. Sorry, yeah, TNA, because he wasn't on Impact. He was on TNA. Yeah. Gosh. Speaking of other weird things like that, you hear about any crazy rumors this week?
I don't know if I'd call this a rumor, but I guess it's more of a clarification that the WWE is not and may have never been in any talks to buy out ROH. Apparently there was some kind of... Apparently this rumor only got started because WWE was trying to, I guess, kind of buy out the rights to some Kevin Owens footage for an upcoming DVD.
By the tapes.
Yeah. And they just kind of went from there, so I don't think that we're going to see that. So.
Unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm still about 50-50 on if they should or shouldn't. So, yeah, I mean, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, that's that. There is other stuff that went on in the world of combatness. One thing that happened over in New Japan, we had Okada versus Shibata, and Okada may have gotten a subdermal hematoma. Ryan Cloud, do you think Strong Style has gotten too strong?
I'm not going to say it's gotten too strong, but I think maybe some people have gotten a little reckless with it.
Okay. And I definitely could see that being the truth. But they're not... I don't know. In Japan, they're very protective, if you know what I'm saying. Like, kayfabe-wise, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the doctors that they talked to said it's not currently a subdermal hematoma, but it could reopen. So that means that so the way that they say it makes it sound like there is a 50-50 chance it is a kayfabe injury or it is a real injury. The way that the doctors that they interviewed on whatever channel that is, the like NHK TV or something, because it is on like actual real broadcast networks, not just cable networks over there. Because it is serious business in Japan. And they interviewed some doctor, and he was like, it is not currently bleeding, but it could open up at any time. So that doesn't necessarily mean that he was necessarily hurt in the match, but there is a chance he could get hurt. But there's always a chance somebody could get hurt when they're kicked in the head. So, or head-butted or any of that stuff. So the way that they made it sound was it's hazy, but a lot of people are pretty sure that he might have actually gotten a subdermal hematoma. It's a brain bleed for all of you people that don't know. But if it's real, it could cut his career short. And if any of you follow wrestling besides just WWE, I'm sure you've probably heard of Okada and Shibata. These are two of the biggest names in wrestling in Asia. Like you had three major top stars in New Japan that have been trying to get, or that had been scouted by WWE, and you might have actually heard of these guys because you had Shinsuke Nakamura and you had Okada and Shibata. Both of them were in that hat of people that WWE was trying to steal away from New Japan when they got all of the guys that are part of the New Japan Ring of Honor takeover kind of stuff that they did, like a beginning of last year type of stuff. And so that's how good these guys are. But at the same time, they all work strong style, and strong style is basically just MMA, scripted MMA, instead of grappling. It's all of the things. So that's one thing. So yeah, and then one of the other major things going on is last week I kind of said something about this about YouTube. I don't know if I said it on the podcast or if it got cut, but YouTube has been demonetizing things and taking money and advertising away from stuff, and advertisers have been saying we don't want to support these things because they're too violent or they're too this or they're too that. And several indie promotions make their living off of putting their shows on YouTube and running ads on YouTube the way that you would run ads on television. And several indie promotions have been demonetized and been told that it is not advertiser friendly to be on wrestling because it is violent. So, Mark, what do you think about that? Is wrestling advertiser friendly?
Wrestling is definitely advertiser friendly. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. I mean, it's I get what they're saying, that it could be too violent. If it was like a ECW back in the day, that. But in most cases, I don't think that that's the issue, and I think it's just more of a control issue with some of these advertisers that kind of want to cherry pick where their ads are placed. But
I mean, Toyota, we'll just say Toyota. Toyota will put ads on WWE, and they'll put ads on Ring of Honor. But if you're on YouTube, you don't get Toyota ads. How is it any different?
Exactly.
That's my thoughts. I'm like, how is that any different? Why can I mean, and if they want to do it, why don't they just make like a subset of sports stuff, and then whoever wants to advertise on sports gets to advertise on WWE and all that stuff. I think there's this thing called restricted mode, and things that are too violent or too adult don't go in restricted mode. And if you go in restricted mode, I think you only get to see one WWE, I think it's like one WWE video on YouTube. I'm not sure what it is, but it's just one video. And most other promotions have like nothing or maybe one thing or things like that. So I'm not sure. It's the new media is definitely in for a big fight, and we're not sure what to do about it. That's the only real thing I guess to say about that. Don't really know where to go with it other than that. Let's see. Are there any other things that we need to talk about on rumors? Mauro Ranallo, according to, I think it was the Wrestling Sheet, it was Mauro Ranallo may be suing over JBL bullying him, or WWE may just be giving him a bunch of money to be quiet about JBL bullying him. Do you think JBL's a bully?
I could definitely see JBL being a bully.
I mean, what was it? ECW back when WWE took over ECW, he like legit destroyed the Blue Meanie at the schmaz at the end of the show. That was I'm sure JBL's a bully. I haven't heard anything about Ranallo. I haven't read any of the stories or anything about what Ranallo apparently said about JBL, but man, I definitely could see him being a big bully.
Oh yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't know him personally, but he does give off that vibe. And I mean, I'm not one to say, what should you do if you're a grown man being bullied. That's on you. I mean, if you feel like it's bad enough to where you want to sue, that's fine. I'm not getting into all that, but I will say that it looks like Ronaldo, he left the WWE. It looks like he's moving on to boxing and MMA.
I mean, he's always done that. He's leaving the WWE.
Yeah, he's going to be sticking to that, and it's you just hate that kind of stuff, like.
Yeah, I definitely miss Ronaldo now that Byron Saxton. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to bully you, Byron Saxton, but
don't get sued, bro.
But I definitely miss Ronaldo now. Then other weird announced news: Booker T may be joining the Raw announced team.
That's a thing. Which.
We know you don't like Booker T. I understand. It's cool.
I like Booker T. The five-time
555 times
WCW champion. But I was wondering when once Byron got sent over to SmackDown, I was wondering what they were going to do, or if they were just going to go old school and do a two-man team. But
I would prefer that. But I mean, I like Booker T. So.
Yeah, I mean, Corey Graves and Michael Cole which, I don't know. Corey Graves and Michael Cole, I think, could do a good job.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to, feel different without Corey Graves, bashing Byron Saxton.
That's true. Yeah, I definitely could see that. The other thing, speaking of greatness, so apparently Flair said that Flair is going to be the next female, I want to say Flair.
The next female Flair.
The next female Kurt Angle. I saw that headline, and Ryan Cloud, you said it sounds like Charlotte is saying that Charlotte is going to be the next Charlotte. So you think that's true? You think she is the next Kurt Angle?
You
said it sounds like she was stuck up.
I don't know. She's
the queen, right?
She is the queen.
Down in her.
I didn't say nothing, bruh. The next Kurt Angle, I can see that, I guess. I was trying to think of maybe another comparison, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. So we'll go with Kurt Angle.
Yeah, definitely. Another thing that surprised me this past week about all of the shows, there was a guy that looked like he was in all of... Okay, he was in the background of Ring of Honor, Raw, and SmackDown, and he was wearing the Cody Rhodes Bullet Club shirt that says American Nightmare, has the skull with the flag, with the American flag, and then it says Cody across the nose. They didn't blur that out, and it looked like the same dude at every show. I'm not sure who this guy is, but something was, he really stood out to me, and something was weird about it. I don't know what that means, but it was really strange. Yeah. Just thought you should know that. And then last week, when I kept saying, please don't protest me, or I'm surprised they didn't protest her, it has happened, not last week, but our show about WrestleMania. It has started to happen now. Ryan Cloud, how did you feel about Becky Lynch's dreadlocks?
I mean, I personally liked it.
You weren't offended in any way, were you?
I was not.
In the fact that she painted herself gold for the match, you weren't offended by that, were you?
Nah, but which I don't get offended by a lot of things.
Were you offended by Finn Balor painting himself black when he painted himself black?
No, he was a demon.
Okay. So I just wanted to preface that before going into this. There has been several people who have come out and said that that's Becky with the bad hair, the Beyonce. And then they started saying that she is being offensive to black people because she had dreadlocks and all this stuff.
What?
I told you it was going to happen last week, and then they said that gold paint that she had on was bad foundation to make her look black. She was trying to do low-key blackface. And then bunch of people brought up Finn Balor painting himself black was blackface as well. And that just bothers me. It really does. It's people looking to be offended by things. And it always seems to be like Irish people that are the most offensive to these people. But the Irish people are doing stuff that's from their culture. But they're not allowed to have culture. I don't know. I knew it was going to happen, and I just wanted to point it out that it happened. It makes me sad.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, there comes a time where I'm like, okay, I get being offended by some things. Like I said, it takes a lot to offend me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, there's a whole plethora of things that just doesn't offend me, mainly because I think it's stupid. But this just kind of feels like digging for controversy. It's like you're looking for something to just be offended by, and you find this. I mean, it didn't even. I don't know. It's stupid. I'm not even gonna give it any kind of justification or anything. I'm just saying it's stupid. Just shut up.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The fact it's they pick weird things to be offended by that are not meant to be offensive in any way, but things that are meant to be offensive they don't call out. That's just the thing. So I don't know. I wanted to point out that they weren't trying to be offensive, and if you're offended by it, then
shut up.
You need help. You need help. Anyway, I guess you got anything better to close this out on besides that stupid note?
I'd close it out with the match of the week being AJ Styles, Baron Corbin, and Sami Zayn.
I like that. That's a good way to close it out. I like that match. If I were going to pick a match for this week, I would probably go with I had a match, but I don't remember what it was. So we're going to go with that one because that was a really good match as well. I don't know. I think my favorite thing of the week was Carmel's Worth. Big Hog. He knows what's up.
I think you need to go to bed.
And Naomi calling him the side chick.
Now that was amazing.
I like Naomi. She is hilarious. Anyway, what should we watch this coming? What do you think we should be watching out for this coming week?
I think we should just be watching out for just the fallout from this superstar shakeup. I mean, while we did basically change out interchangeable pieces, with the exception of Charlotte probably being the only one that doesn't really have an equal in this whole shakeup.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just watch out for the fall for that because we do have some opportunities for some new rivalries, some new matches, and that kind of stuff. I mean, we're going to have AJ Styles and probably Kevin Owens on SmackDown, and we got the Reunited Shield on Raw.
I don't know if I call them reunited yet, but
well,
yeah.
I mean, they're all on the same brand. They all happen to be faces at the same, but
kind of faces.
Well, two faces and a guy who don't know what the hell he is. But
Dean Ambrose?
No.
He thinks he's a cowboy.
Dean Ambrose thinks he's a cowboy. Seth Rollins is the Kingslayer, and Roman Reigns is dead. So,
unless you're at a house show.
But yeah, I just watch out for all this fallout because it's going to be something.
I feel you. I think you should watch my throne. No. Yeah, that's probably the best way to put this is everything has been shook up. You should be watching for what Jinder Mahal does and what Mojo Rawley does because apparently they're going to get a push. They're going to get pushed to the moon apparently. I want to see what happens with Ziggler and Nakamura. Basically, I'm going to say everything that you just said, but in a whole lot more words if I keep talking. So that's basically what I want to say. Oh, and I wrote down for TNA, Santana Garrett looks like a knockoff of Peyton Royce. We'll end on that.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. But yeah, basically just watch out for what's going to happen, because this is brave new world right up here. Brave new world. We don't know what's going to happen because everything has been shook up.
It's crazy.
All shook up. So, Ryan Cloud, where can you find us on the internet?
Well, you can find us on Facebook at the Shooting Star Press. You can find us on Twitter at SS Press Podcast. And you can find us on YouTube at the Shooting Star Press. And, of course, hit us up on Podbean as well at the Shooting Star Press. So,
basically, go on to all of the social medias, type in the Shooting Star Press, and if you find the Shooting Star Press, make sure it's us, because we're the cool ones. We're the real Shooting Star Press, not the stupid fake ones. And just follow us on all the places. It'll be great. Ron Cloud, got any closing words?
No, I think I'm good.
Well, that was rather lackluster. Have a nice night.